BurnOut, not just a figure of speech anymore. It's actually been declared a legitimate medical diagnosis by the World Health Organization.
Analysts report more than 2/3 of American workers feel at least moderately burned out.
A recent survey of 1,000 full-time workers found 89% said they'd experienced burnout over the past year.
In the last couple of years, many people have been suffering from workplace burnout. So I set out on a mission to try to understand why so many people were burnt out in their workplace. I spoke with Rachel McClain, a healthcare professional who suffered workplace burnout.
Rachel McClain, CNA 1 and 2.
So kind of express to me, what is that? What exactly do you do?
CNA is abbreviation for Certified Nurse Assistant. Actually, I do the same thing that a registered nurse does. The only difference is I do not do give out medicine.
How long have you worked at your current employer?
2 years.
2 years. During the tail end of COVID, but you still experience burnout, correct?
Yes, correct.
And how did it affect your performance on the job?
It affected my performance by taking more breaks than usual, normal, before COVID. It's headaches, very high stress environment, very toxic. The performance was not so good.
Can you express kind of like prior to being burned out, how did you feel about the job, and how was your workflow?
My workflow was very normal. Of course, underpaid, working more, but it was normal. It was better than what it was once COVID took place.
Did that burnout affect your home life? And if so, how?
The workplace burnout has affected my life, my family tremendously, concerning my livelihood, financially, mentally, emotionally. And of course, as a nurse assistant, it was a big toll on my body as well. And just coming home, not feeling the same, a different person.
So did your family notice it?
Yes, it was very noticeable with my family, my kids. As soon as I pull up in my vehicle, it's like, where you been? What happened? And I was very snappy. I became a very snappy person.
Did you feel like management was aware of the stress that you was feeling?
Absolutely. Management was very aware of the stress. The only thing that they portrayed to help alleviate the burnout or stress pointers was billboards throughout the hospital setting. If you have any burnout or stressful issues, it needs to be taken up with an outside vendor, which was EAP, standing for Employment Assistant Program.
So I wanted to do a little research on exactly what was the EAP and what is it they did. Now, by definition, an EAP is a voluntary work-based program that offers free and confidential assessments, short-term counseling, referrals, and follow-up services to employees who have personal or work-related problems. Now, in theory, that sounds good. But what I found was that was reactive. The employers failed to be proactive. And my question was, who was helping the employees before they were burnt out? We asked Ms. McClain, did she speak to the EAP? And this is what she said.
I did contact EAP, which was very unprofessional, and I think they could have reacted a little bit better with employees as well as I.
So we spoke with Dr. Fanike Kiara Olubala-Young, who work with employers on this very subject. We asked her what was her thoughts in regards to the workplace burnout, and this is what she said. Can you state your name and your credentials for me, please?
Hi, I am Dr. Fanike Kiara Olubala-Young, and I am a wellness programs designer, licensed clinical trauma therapist, doctor of behavioral health, and business profit growth strategist.
Okay. So this documentary is basically on workplace burnout, and I know that that's something that you work with companies in. Can you kind of explain to me the level of burnout in the workplace?
As of 2022, survey data reported that at least 79% of employees had either experienced burnout or were experiencing burnout at the time. One of the things that we always have to consider is that America is designed as a hard-working country. And so it is typically unavoidable that at some point in our lives, everyone will experience burnout, especially when we look at the structure of the work days, the work hours. Everyone is expected to work 40 hours a week and maintain a family life, a wellness life. They are put in a position to try to figure out how to balance all of the pieces.
Do you feel as though companies is doing enough in regards to the workplace burnout?
So usually what happens is that an employee is provided with options for benefits when they are onboarded into a company. The thing is that those benefits are usually designed to be reactive. And so if the employee identifies that they have an issue, they go to the doctor. If they identify that they are experiencing some kind of depression or overwhelm, then they contact the EAP. One of the things that I try to do in the work that I do with them is to say, hey, I think you should put some preventative measures in place. If employees are already being given the skills and the tools for them to be able to utilize on a day-to-day, as well as the company being able to then also put some things in place, such as mindfulness activities, or honestly, just having a check-in at the beginning of each meeting to see where their employees are for that day. Those little small things would be really, really helpful.
How does the burnout affect the bottom line for the company?
Well, evidently, as looking at the Great Resignation,
the managers, this company, this position, I quit.
What we're finding is that people, when they are experiencing burnout, they can't be productive. There is no possible way. And again, the old school thinking of come to work and work and work and work. We have some professions, such as CPAs, who pull 50, 60-hour weeks easy, especially when tax season is coming up and they're not being given tools. There's nothing in place for them. But really and realistically, when we look at the same professions that are working those long hours, those are the people that are saying, hey, I'll quit tomorrow. I'm ready to leave the field. I'm ready to retire early. Why? Because they're burnt out. So companies have to change the way in which they're approaching that. They have to say, hey, I have this person, because onboarding a person and training them costs a lot of money. To then have to bring someone else in and retrain or put them in another position costs even more money. And so companies have to start saying, hey, I am prioritizing my employees.
Well, Dr. Fanike, you have been a great help. Is there any last message that you want to give not only the employee but the employer before we go?
My last message is that it's important for us as people to just start valuing each other and to start looking at each other beyond what we can do for each other. and start respecting the fact that as people, it is our jobs to take care of one another.